God will speak in baby talk. Doom to the pretentious drunks of Ephraim, shabby and washed out and seedy, tipsy, sloppy fat, beer-bellied parodies of a proud and handsome past. Watch closely, God has someone picked out, someone tough and strong to flatten them. Like a hailstorm, like a hurricane, like a flash flood, one-handed he'll throw them to the ground. Samaria, the party hat on Israel's head, will be knocked off with one blow. It will disappear quicker than a piece of meat tossed to a dog. At that time, God-of-the-Angel-Armies will be the beautiful crown on the head of what's left of his people, energy and insights of justice to those who guide and decide, strength and prowess to those who guard and protect. These also, the priest and prophet, stagger from drink, weaving, falling down drunks, besotted with wine and whiskey, can't see straight, can't talk sense. Every table is covered with vomit. They live in vomit. Is that so? And who do you think you are to teach us? Who are you to lord it over us? We're not babies in diapers to be talked down to by such as you, blah, 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 blah. That's a good little girl, that's a good little boy. But that's exactly how you will be addressed. God will speak to this people in baby talk, one syllable at a time, and he'll do it through foreign oppressors. He said before, this is the time and place to rest, to give rest to the weary. This is the place to lay down your burden. But they won't listen. So God will start over with the simple basics and address them in baby talk, one syllable at a time, blah, 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 blah. That's a good little girl, that's a good little boy. And like toddlers, they will get up and fall down, get bruised and confused and lost. Now listen to God's message, you scoffers, you who rule this people in Jerusalem. You say, we've taken out good life insurance. We've hedged all our bets, covered all our bases. No disaster can touch us. We've thought of everything. We're advised by the experts. We're set. The meaning of the stone. But the Master, God, has something to say to this, watch closely. I'm laying a foundation in Zion, a solid granite foundation, squared and true. And this is the meaning of the stone, a trusting life won't topple. I'll make justice the measuring stick and righteousness the plumb line for the building. A hailstorm will knock down the shanty town of lies, and a flash flood will wash out the rubble. Then you'll see that your precious life insurance policy wasn't worth the paper it was written on. Your careful precautions against death were a pack of illusions and lies. When the disaster happens, you'll be crushed by it. Every time disaster comes, you'll be in on it, disaster in the morning, disaster at night. Every report of disaster will send you cowering in terror. There will be no place where you can rest, nothing to hide under. God will rise to full stature, raging as he did long ago on Mount Perazim and in the valley of Gibeon against the Philistines. But this time it's against you. Hard to believe, but true. Not what you'd expect, but it's coming. Sober up, friends, and don't scoff. Scoffing will just make it worse. I've heard the orders issued for destruction, orders from God of the angel armies, ending up in an international disaster. Listen to me now. Give me your closest attention. Do farmers plow and do nothing but plow? Or harrow and do nothing but harrow? After they've prepared the ground, don't they plant? Don't they scatter dill and spread cumin, plant wheat and barley in the fields and raspberries along the borders? They know exactly what to do and when to do it. Their God is their teacher. And at the harvest, the delicate herbs and spices, the dill and cumin, are treated delicately. On the other hand, wheat is threshed and milled, but still not endlessly. The farmer knows how to treat each kind of grain. He's learned it all from God of the angel armies, who knows everything about when and how and where. Blind yourselves so that you see nothing. Doom, Ariel, the city where David set camp. Let the years add up, let the festivals run their cycles, but I'm not letting up on Jerusalem. The moaning and groaning will continue. Jerusalem to me is an Ariel. Like David, I'll set up camp against you. I'll set siege, build towers, bring in siege engines, build siege ramps. Driven into the ground, you'll speak, you'll mumble words from the dirt, your voice from the ground, like the muttering of a ghost. Your speech will whisper from the dust. But it will be your enemies who are beaten to dust, the mob of tyrants who will be blown away like chaff. Because, surprise, as if out of nowhere, a visit from God-of-the-Angel-Armies, with thunderclaps, earthquakes, and ear-splitting noise, backed up by hurricanes, tornadoes, and lightning strikes, and the mob of enemies at war with Ariel, all who trouble and hassle and torment her. Will turn out to be a bad dream, a nightmare. Like a hungry man dreaming he's eating steak and wakes up hungry as ever, like a thirsty woman dreaming she's drinking iced tea and wakes up thirsty as ever, so that mob of nations at war against Mount Zion will wake up and find they haven't shot an arrow, haven't killed a single soul. Drug yourselves so you feel nothing. Blind yourselves so you see nothing. Get drunk, but not on wine. Black out, but not from whiskey. For God has rocked you into a deep, deep sleep, put the discerning prophets to sleep, put the far-sighted seers to sleep. You have everything backward. What you've been shown here is somewhat like a letter in a sealed envelope. If you give it to someone who can read and tell her, read this, she'll say, I can't. The envelope is sealed. And if you give it to someone who can't read and tell him, read this, he'll say, I can't read. The master said, these people make a big show of saying the right thing, but their hearts aren't in it. Because they act like they're worshipping me but don't mean it, I'm going to step in and shock them awake, astonish them, stand them on their ears. The wise ones who had it all figured out will be exposed as fools. The smart people who thought they knew everything will turn out to know nothing. Doom to you. You pretend to have the inside track. You shut God out and work behind the scenes, plotting the future as if you knew everything, acting mysterious, never showing your hand. You have everything backward. You treat the potter as a lump of clay. Does a book say to its author, he didn't write a word of me? Does a meal say to the woman who cooked it, she had nothing to do with this? And then before you know it, and without you having anything to do with it, wasted Lebanon will be transformed into lush gardens, and Mount Carmel reforested. At that time the deaf will hear word for word what's been written. After a lifetime in the dark, the blind will see. The cast-offs of society will be laughing and dancing in God, the down-and-outs shouting praise to the Holy of Israel. For there'll be no more gangs on the street. Cynical scoffers will be an extinct species. Those who never missed a chance to hurt or demean will never be heard of again, gone the people who corrupted the courts, gone the people who cheated the poor, gone the people who victimized the innocent. And finally this, God's message for the family of Jacob, the same God who redeemed Abraham, no longer will Jacob hang his head in shame, no longer grow gaunt and pale with waiting. For he's going to see his children, my personal gift to him, lots of children. And these children will honor me by living holy lives. In holy worship they'll honor the Holy One of Jacob and stand in holy awe of the God of Israel. Those who got off track will get back on track, and complainers and winners will learn gratitude.